Her fingers tightened around a stranger's jacket just as the music swelled and the chandelier light fractured into 1,000 trembling reflections, because across the room, through the blur of champagne glasses and forced laughter, she saw him. The man she had once loved. The man who had once broken her so quietly that no one else even noticed. And in that moment, instinct took over before dignity could catch up. She stepped into the nearest safety she could find, a tall, composed stranger in a black suit, and clung to him like he was the only solid thing left in a collapsing world. If you believe every story hides a lesson waiting to be discovered, take a second right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Stories, because sometimes the smallest moments carry the biggest truths. The stranger didn't pull away. That was the first thing she noticed. Most men would have stiffened, questioned, or gently removed her hand. But he didn't. His arm came around her naturally, like he understood something without needing explanation. His presence was steady, warm, controlled, like someone who had mastered silence instead of noise. She kept her eyes down at first, afraid that if she looked again, her past would still be standing there, smiling that same familiar smile that once meant everything. Her ex hadn't changed. Same posture, same confidence, same way of existing as if the world owed him something. But she had changed, or at least she thought she had, until her heartbeat betrayed her. Her fingers curled tighter into the stranger's sleeve. She told herself it was temporary. Just a moment, just until the storm passed. But something strange happened. The stranger leaned slightly closer, not possessive, not invasive, just enough to make the illusion believable. His presence shielded her, but it didn't suffocate her. It was safe, a word she hadn't felt in a long time. Around them, the party carried on, crystal glasses clinking, laughter rising and falling, conversations weaving through the air like threads, but her world had narrowed to the rhythm of her own breathing and the quiet steadiness of someone she didn't even know. She could feel her ex's gaze lingering. That was the worst part. Not anger, not confrontation, just that look, the one that made her feel small, replaceable, like something he had already outgrown. But tonight, for the first time, she didn't step back. Because she wasn't alone. The stranger didn't speak, didn't ask questions, didn't try to fix anything. And somehow, that made everything easier. His silence felt like permission, permission to exist without explaining herself, permission to stand her ground without collapsing. Minutes passed, though it felt longer. Eventually, she risked a glance upward. And that's when something shifted. There was something different about him. Not just the way he carried himself, calm, grounded, almost too composed for a room full of restless energy, but the way people subtly reacted around him. Waiters paused a fraction longer near him. Conversations softened as he passed. There was a quiet gravity to him, like the room adjusted itself without realizing why. She slowly loosened her grip, suddenly aware of what she had done. Embarrassment crept in, warm and sharp. She had clung to a stranger, in a room full of people who knew how to notice things. But before she could step away completely, he turned slightly toward her, not fully, just enough. And in that small movement, she felt seen. Not judged, not questioned, just seen. The kind of seeing that doesn't demand explanations. The kind that doesn't remind you of your mistakes. Across the room, her ex finally looked away. Just like that, the storm passed, but something lingered, because as she stepped back, as the space between them returned, she realized something unexpected. She didn't feel small anymore. She didn't feel like she had run away. It felt different, like she had chosen something instead. The stranger gave a small nod, almost unnoticeable, and moved away into the crowd, swallowed by conversations and light and distance. And just like that, he was gone. Or so she thought. The next morning, the world returned to its usual rhythm, routines, expectations, the quiet weight of ordinary life. She arrived at work still carrying fragments of the night before, unsure why it stayed with her. Maybe it was the feeling. That rare, fleeting sense of safety. Or maybe it was the way a stranger had understood her without needing her story. She stepped into the office, adjusting her bag, preparing herself for another predictable day. Until everything stopped. The room shifted, people straightened, whispers softened, and there he was, at the head of the room. The same man, the same calm presence, the same quiet authority, only now, it had a name. He wasn't just a stranger. He was the billionaire owner of the company, the man whose decisions shaped every career in that building, including hers. And suddenly, every moment from the night before felt heavier. Not because she had made a mistake, but because she hadn't. Because in the moment she needed protection the most, she hadn't chosen power. She had chosen presence. And somehow, unknowingly, she had chosen the one man who understood both. If this story stirred something in you, a memory, a feeling, a quiet realization, take a moment to like, share, and tell us in the comments what part touched you the most. But before the ending, pause here for a second and write one word in the comments that describes how this moment made you feel. Because sometimes, it's not about who someone is in the world. It's about who they are in the moment you need them. And sometimes, the stranger you hold onto in your weakest moment is the one who reminds you that you're stronger than you ever believed.